So the seminar we talked about chronic fatigue, and I actually really don't love that title because it's such a, I guess, incorrect title that we should have, because chronic fatigue it doesn't really exist. It's more along the lines of improper nutrition or improper fuel creating fatigue. So that's a little bit more of what we're going to talk about today is like, what are things that are zapping your fuel and what are things that you can do to actually improve your fuel on a day-to-day basis. A lot of these things are things that me and my husband do, Dr. Mark, that we tell our patients to do. And I'm hoping at least everybody who watches this, listens to this, looks at the notes can go like, oh, that's one thing that I can do for my health. So when we talk about what are the things that actually affect our energy, a lot of it has to do with the modern lifestyle that we're living in today that didn't exist maybe 50 years ago, 150 years ago, 250 years ago. So that chronic exposure to stress. And one of the things that I talk about with a lot of the individuals who come into our office is your body doesn't know the difference from being chased by a pterodactyl or running late for an appointment or running late for a meeting or running late for dropping off your kid at the bus stop. So that same response that you would have if you were getting chased by a bear, if you were getting chased by a lion, is the same response your body has when you are running late for that meeting. So that chronic stress is going to create cortisol overdrive, or just extra amounts and secretions of cortisol in your body for survival. And we know cortisol is a disruptor of all things when it comes to health. It disrupts our overall function, our energy, our sleep, but our digestion, metabolism, everything. So things that disrupt our or zap our energy is just disrupted sleep. Our body loves to have a good 6 to 8 hour sleep window of continuous sleep. And if you have little ones, if you have pets, when we had all the tornadoes here in Middle Tennessee, those things that disrupt our sleep are going to zap our energy because you're no longer getting that good, restful, parasympathetic, healing sleep that you need. We talk a lot about nutrient gaps. Nutrient gaps to me would be convenience foods. This would be things that like running and grabbing Chick-fil-A because you're running late for an appointment, or not grabbing a good healthy breakfast and just sticking with coffee. If we're eating on a more convenient schedule, we're going to be missing out on a lot of the nutrition that we need to build up our energy stores. Blue light exposure, all the computers or cell phones that we're staring at, the LED lights, these blue lights, these flickers are actually disrupting our circadian rhythm. And that circadian rhythm is basically our body loves to match the sun. And I talk about it all the time in the office of we want the body to match the sun, meaning when the sun is awake, you're awake. So right now that looks like heading to bed around 8, 8:15, maybe 8:30 after the sun goes to bed. And then waking up around that 5:30 time point when the sun rises. Now, mapping your circadian rhythm, we want you actually to feel and see the sunlight. So this looks like stepping outside and getting sunshine on your eyes, sunshine on your face, and same thing with like as you're heading to bed. So when you are off that sleep-wake cycle, if you are not sleeping when the sun is asleep and you're not awake when the sun is awake, this too can zap our energy. Dehydration. I talk a lot about the cells in the body being the difference between a grape and a raisin. You can just tell the nutrient density of a grape and how that juicy, beautiful, fresh grape tastes versus that raisin that has been dehydrated, that usually has a little bit higher sugar content. These dehydration in our bodies, dehydration in our cells will zap our energy. Lack of movement, our body needs that brain to body, or excuse me, that body to brain stimulation. And when we move our body, when we execute any sort of muscle movement, we are just reinforcing positive behavior in the brain. And then nervous system dysfunction. Obviously, as a chiropractor, how your brain communicates to your body is super important for maintaining your energy levels. So we're going to start off a little bit here talking about like what is mitochondria. So like I said, I don't actually believe that chronic fatigue exists. I don't think it's actually a real thing, but instead what I think is it's a nutrient depletion so that your body does not have the resources it needs to have proper energy. So mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell. If you were in any sort of middle or high school science class, you remember that. Basically what these things do is they fuel the cells so that the cells can do what they need to. Cells make up every area of our body. So everything I just talked about in the previous slide is what decreases our mitochondrial function, which decreases that fuel inside of that cells. And so when we see individuals come in the office, they're like, Carlee, I sleep for 10 hours, or I'm just always exhausted, or just like by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I have no energy left in my brain. Basically, it's your body running out of fuel. And as many of you know with your car, when I drive my car up to the gas pump, I put gas in it. and then it runs again for another 300 miles. Now, if I run my car out of gas and there's no gas left in the tank, it does nothing. And then the second I put gas back in it, the car runs again. So just because you have chronic fatigue doesn't mean that you will always have chronic fatigue. You have ran your car, your body out of gas. And if we refuel it properly with the thing you're most depleted in, you will not only have that energy back, but you will be back to being able to maintain that energy and getting to the gas pump before you are on E. So, like I said, I don't actually believe chronic fatigue exists. I truly believe it's something called mitochondrial dysfunction or mitochondrial fatigue. And all of that comes from not having the nutrients to repower your cells and keep them going. So, let's talk a little bit about things that help repower those cells. As I'm looking at here, looks like we have mostly females. Every single person needs protein. And we undereat protein so much in our daily diet now with convenience foods, with things such as carbohydrates. I mean, I think of every like advertised food for breakfast is a carbohydrate. I'm thinking waffles, pancakes, I'm thinking toast, English muffins, cereal. All those things are carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are our fast energy. That's that whole Snickers bar commercial. You eat the Snickers and you get pumped up. Fats are our long-term energy. And then protein is actually our rebuilding. So to actually make you stronger in your body and rebuild all those cells. I believe that every woman, I would believe men is even higher, but every woman needs minimum 100 grams of protein per day, which equals out to about 33 grams of protein per meal. What this does, it's going to stabilize your blood sugar. It's going to support the production of all of those cells, all of those nutrients that those cells make to get that brain to body functioning so that you get rid of that brain fog, you get rid of that low energy. And like I said, it's going to help rebuild your body so you have longer lasting energy. Now, when it comes to protein, my personal opinion is I'm okay with certain convenience foods when it comes to protein to make sure you're hitting those protein levels. So I do in my life use things such as beef sticks that are super convenient. I do a lot of nuts, sunflower seeds, or pumpkin seeds because these are high in protein but easy convenience foods. And I use protein powder. So some individuals, some providers would advise against it. But if you're getting clean quality protein powder, which there's so many on the market now, these would be ones that I'd be okay with to get that protein content. So, like I said, women, we're hitting minimum 100 grams of protein per day. If you are a maturing woman, you are heading into menopause, after menopause, that number probably actually goes closer to 130 grams of protein per day to maintain muscle mass, which we know is crucial for health. And if we get our protein levels up, our body can recover and it'll help increase our energy. A couple key nutrients that always help with energy is going to be iron. As a menstruating female, you will lose a lot of iron, and we need that iron to keep our red blood cells plump. So, and move that oxygen that every cell needs up, down, and right, left inside of our body. So, we want to make sure that we're having adequate iron levels. B vitamins, specifically B12, these are going to be the vitamins that are going to help rebuild that cellular energy. And that's where like people sometimes will be like, oh, I took my B vitamins in the morning and they put a little pep in my step. So we want to make sure not just B12, but all of your B vitamins are in range. And then magnesium. Magnesium is a mineral that powers over 3,000 or 300, excuse me, different processes in our body. And there's many different types of magnesium. And I'll talk about which one on the next slide. But if you're trying to increase your energy, magnesium is going to help you in this tenfold. And then the last one is zinc. Zinc is a little underrated. I think a lot of people overlook zinc, but we need zinc for immune function, immune modulation, hormone regulation. It also, like us women, is going to help like hair health, skin health, nail health. So it's a good one. Now, iron and zinc are two nutrients that you can overdo. So I always say be really careful that you're not taking too much of it and you're actually keeping track of like how much you're taking through either blood values or in our office, we use muscle testing. Okay, so I just listed, like, these are not the end all be all, but I just listed some of the supplements that we recommend for those key nutrients in our office. So the first one I wrote on there is Hemogenics. Hemogenics is from a company called Metagenics. It's an iron with B complex. And again, like I said, we're only supplementing iron if we know it's deficient. So menstruating women, you can do it during your cycle and for a few days after and then come back off of it. If you've done blood work or muscle testing and you see it's actually low, then yes, we could totally take Hemogenics for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days until we see the levels come back up. Iron can cause stomach aches, and it also can cause constipation. And so the reason I like the Hemogenics is that one does not do that. And like I said, it has that B complex for energy in there. The next one is Mitocore. Mitocore is one of my favorite supplements. I probably use it the most commonly in the office. Mitocore and then Methylcare, both of those are going to support cellular energy production and something called methylation, which is just being able to get the toxins out of your body. But what these supplements do is literally refuel your cells. So think about taking your body to the gas station so you can actually get fuel in your cells. Mitocore and Methylcare are both going to actually bring the cells back up to that level. Once we get up to that level, we work on maintaining those levels of cellular fuel. So the top three supplements there, your Hemogenics, your Mitocore, and your Methylcare are all going to be pretty high in B vitamins, which was one of those nutrients on the previous slide. The Hemogenics is going to be the combo of the B with the iron. Magnesium glycinate is from Metagenics. You can do 300 to 400 milligrams a day. What this is going to do is going to help get you into deeper sleep. So you're really going to get into that parasympathetic, get those 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and also reduce stress, so decrease the cortisol in your body, which if we go back to the first slide, those are the things that adding up together cause the fatigue to begin with. So we want to make sure that we grab those resources if our body is low in them. And magnesium is not something you can overdo. If you take too much magnesium, you will just increase your bowel movement. So it's a safe one to take just from a webinar alone. My go-to magnesium is actually from a company called BioOptimizers. And I kind of joke that it's a magnesium multi. So there's 8 different types of magnesium that have been discovered, and they all work on different areas of the body. So if you're taking something just magnesium glycinate, that's going to focus more on stress, muscle relaxation, but it's not going to hit all the other layers of the magnesium nutrient that our body needs, where BioOptimizers is going to have all 8 forms of magnesium in it. And so I call it a magnesium multi. We carry that one in our office. That one's also found at Sprouts, and it's super affordable. So I do recommend that one a lot. I wanted to add to our list here of supplements that help with energy, CoQ10. CoQ10 is a molecule that works inside of the mitochondria. The way I describe CoQ10 is you take your car, you pull it up to the gas station. Your car has no fuel. Then the gas pump is right there, and the gas pump does have fuel, but you still have to get out of your car, grab the gas pump, and put it into the car. That's the way that CoQ10 works in our mitochondria to help make more fuel. This would be something that you would probably need in addition to the B vitamins to get those fuel levels up. Unless you're someone who has adequate B vitamins, the CoQ10 is just taking the fuel that you have and actually making sure the mitochondria can use it. CoQ10, the reason I put this on there is it's the number one nutrient that is depleted from pharmaceutical medications. We specifically see this in blood pressure medications, statins, any sort of anxiety support, depression support. They are all going to deplete your body of CoQ10. And this is where we see where chronic prescription use can actually increase chronic fatigue. So it's one of my first ones that I throw on everybody. It's naturally already in the body. So again, you can't overdo it. It's just going to take the fuel you have and actually put it into the cell. Vitamin D helps with tons of things when it comes to mood, and obviously our mood really helps our energy. So we always recommend vitamin D from Metagenics, the D3 plus K2. The D3 that has the K2 in it is going to increase the absorption. Vitamin D from Metagenics is also in an olive oil capsule. So vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. A fat-soluble vitamin means that it needs fat to be absorbed. So we want that vitamin D to be in a like an olive oil or like dispersed in some sort of oil in that capsule. So if you ever buy vitamin D that's in a powder, throw it away. It's not actually doing anything for you. Or if that's all you have and that's all you can get, you need to take it with a lot of fat. So like half of avocado, or put it in your own tablespoon of olive oil. Um, Adaptogens, I put these on here just because they're kind of becoming a hot topic item on like social media. Ashwagandha, rhodiola. We have two supplements we recommend in the office called Licorice Plus and Myocalm. Again, these are going to just decrease the cortisol. They're going to help you get deeper into sleep, get more uninterrupted sleep to help replenish that fuel that has been depleted, causing the mitochondria fatigue. Whoops, wrong one. Okay, so I wanted to put this in here. Really, my slides are just like a hodgepodge of everything that people have asked me over the last few weeks when we've been talking about energy. So people ask me a lot about coffee. Should we do coffee? Should we not do coffee? I am pro coffee. I think it is a great source of antioxidants. It also is a great mood boost. I'm not against caffeine when not abused. Caffeine to me is, I mean, your one cup of coffee a day. That's plenty of caffeine for any human. Um, when we get above and beyond that, we are probably causing more harm than good when it comes to your adrenal glands, your detox pathways. Now, the thing with coffee is very, very toxic. Toxic. So most coffee sources are actually going to be high in mycotoxins, which is mold. And the mold actually directly affects the mitochondria, which is going to be that fuel source. So we always recommend that you get what we call healthy coffee, organic coffee. I say you have to be careful with organic because not all organic coffee has been checked for mold. So there's two brands that we recommend at the office. One is Purity. If you're not someone that's local to our office, Purity is one that you can order online, ship directly to your house. Another brand that we really like is Seek. Seek is local to Middle Tennessee, and it is a mold-free organic coffee, and they make beans, they make grounds, they make iced coffee in a can. And so we carry that in the office just to really show the importance of like, you can have coffee if it's clean so that it's helping your body with those antioxidants, not draining it with those toxins. Okay, so another way that you can help increase your energy is through red light therapy. This is a form of biohacking where we're actually using our resources to increase our biochemistry. So red light, what it does is it uses a specific red light wave that actually powers or sends fuel into the mitochondria. We see a direct impact of people using this on cellular healing. So if every single cell in your body has a mitochondria and we give every single cell more fuel, we see healing. We see maybe I mean, the most common we see this in is like people using it for facial benefits, meaning decreasing acne, increasing or decreasing fine lines, decreasing wrinkles. But now we use it for all sorts of sources. So you can put it over your liver to increase mitochondrial function in your liver. You can put it over reproductive organs. So we use this in a lot of our women that are trying to get pregnant. Your ovaries contain the most amount of mitochondria in the entire body. And so if we do red light directly over those ovaries, they will penetrate through the body, penetrate through the skin, and refuel every single mitochondria that's in there. So this is a form of biohacking to just increase that fuel, decrease the chronic fatigue. I usually recommend you start small, 10 minutes. You can do it like I always say, like kind of like a rotisserie chicken. You can do it on the front side of your body, the side of your body, the other side, and your back. And you just want to start small. So like 5, 5, 5, 10, 10, 10. Maxing out at about 20 to 30 minutes of red light every single day. There's been no proof that more does any better. So for time sensitivity. There's two I put on the screen. The Loom Box. It's not my favorite red light product, but it is the most affordable. So you can always find coupon codes online and it gets down to about $350. It's also very convenient in size that you can pack it, you can use it on different parts of your body, you can lay in bed and use it. You can use it on your kids to help heal things. So the Loom Box is very convenient. Like I said, it's not my favorite quality, but it does work really well. And then the one on the bottom is from Sauna Space. That's going to be the one that I more recommend. There is a link to that on our website. That's going to be the one that I care for the quality just a little bit more than the Loom Box, but it is going to run at a higher price. The opposite of red light or in disconnect with red light is blue light. So blue light's going to be your cell phones, it's going to be your computers. Like I said, it's going to be LED lights. And this is going to disrupt our melatonin production. And that's going to affect that circadian rhythm, that sleep-wake cycle. So we want to make sure that we're eliminating as much as possible. So as you can see right now, I'm out on my porch as I'm on the screen. So we don't want to be stimulating any of that light exposure into our eyes, that blue light exposure into our eyes once the sun has set. So we want to make sure that we eliminate that blue light as the sun is asleep to just reassure that circadian rhythm. Um, I thought I put on there. Do. Maybe I did, or maybe I put it in a different part of the presentation. Um, they make these glasses. The brand that we like is called RA Optics. And what these glasses do, I think it might be later in a slide, is you can get orange lenses or red lenses. I prefer the red lenses. And if I have to do any sort of computer work when the sun is asleep, or if I'm watching TV when the sun is asleep, I wear these red glasses and they block all the blue light. So I do understand, like, especially some of my women who are photographers, who are doing editing late at night, or if you're just a mom who's like, that's my time to read on my, you know, iPad or my Kindle. The red lensed glasses will actually block any of the blue light and not stimulate or disrupt that melatonin production or that circadian rhythm. So they also make the orange glasses, which are doing the exact same thing during the day. So if you do have enough chronic fatigue where you're looking for more support than just um, better nighttime support, you might even need to grab those orange lenses and wear them all day long to decrease the blue light exposure if you're spending a lot of time on a screen. Decision overload. This is one of those things that's just going to help, that's going to drain us that I do like to mention. And I know that a lot of us have to make a lot of decisions in the day from right away being like, do I hit snooze or do I not hit snooze? That's your first decision of day. How hot of shower am I going to take? When am I going to brush my teeth? What am I having for breakfast? What am I wearing? And that's just you, and that's not any of your kids, your husband, your spouse, like anything else. So the average person makes 35,000 decisions every single day. And that is just a chronic use of that cellular energy inside of your body. So I talk a lot about something called streamlining. Basically, how many things can you get on auto in your life, right? And so this is where Amazon came out with that auto ship where you can just pick, like, I want you to ship me my kitty litter once a month, 3 bags, whatever else. I don't have to think about it. Where else can you do that in your life? So the few things that I streamline is I do a smoothie for breakfast every single day. And I put the same thing in the smoothie every single day. And the reason I do that is I don't have to think about what to buy when I'm at the grocery store because I buy the same thing every time. And I don't have to worry about what's for breakfast because I'm doing the same thing every single day. So, same thing with my lunches. I do a salad every day for lunch because I know exactly what do I have to buy at the grocery store and what do I need to make every single morning. So if there's things inside your life, Dr. Mark, my husband, he has recently gone, I think it was Steve Jobs, where he has replaced most of his clothing with like 6 different types of shirts and 3 different types of pants so that in the morning he doesn't have to make that decision of what do I wear. So whatever you can do to streamline it. Or like, so I wrote like choice templates, create standard responses. Like this is like in your cell phone, when a phone rings, you can have that thing set so that it says, hey, I'm busy right now. I'll call you back. Like what kind of things can you do to like make those decisions easier for you? The other thing is decision batching. This is where maybe as a mom, if you can on Sunday go through and be like, here's all the food we're going to eat for the week. Here's all the clothes my kids are going to wear for the week. This is going to decrease that decision overload that's going to steal the nutrients from your mitochondria. And then my poor staff hears this a lot. The good enough rule is done is better than perfect. And so sometimes as a mom, I think everyone needs to hear that like just getting something done is better than getting it done perfect. Make the decision and move on, because if you're not making the decision and moving on, you're actually making a million micro decisions to not make the decision. So oh, blue light management. Sorry, here's where it is. Like I said, the glasses are from the brand RA Optics. They are the ones that I truly do, like they've been checked to actually block blue light. There's a lot of the blue light blocking glasses that are clear. There's a lot of the blue light lenses that you can get on your prescription lenses. Those don't actually, if it is not a red lens, it is not fully blocking the blue light. They now make screen filters for both your cell phone and your computer screen that'll block that blue light. iPhones, I don't know about Androids. If someone has an Android on here, they might be able to let us know about this. But on all iPhones, you can put it on night mode, which is just going to decrease the amount of blue light. It's not going to eliminate it, but it's going to decrease it. So personally on my cell phone, I have that turned on 24/7. So just to decrease that blue light exposure from my cell phone. 60-minute device cutoff before bedtime. So again, if we're watching the sun, if the sun is setting at 8 p.m., we should be turning off any of those blue light things that are coming into our brain so that our body can start refueling that mitochondria. I was gonna put a screenshot in here and I didn't get to it, but um, if you have an aura ring, a lot of our staff do and a lot of our patients do, we've actually seen where you can see the biometrics change when someone spends like has too much blue light before they go to bed. And so we can see that heart rate doesn't come down, which means HRV doesn't come up. And the amount of REM sleep and deep sleep that this person gets is not as high as someone who actually has that 60-minute window with no blue light exposure. And like when I say no blue light exposure, that also means like the LED lights in your bathroom. Like you're down to lamplight, candlelight. We use salt lights in our house to just decrease any blue light exposure 60 minutes before bedtime. And then the easiest thing you can do, I wanted to make sure I included this because it like the biohacking tools such as the red light and the blue light blocking glasses, they they do cost money. So something you can do that's going to be just as beneficial is the sunlight that is emitted in the first like 10 to 15 minutes of the day and the last 10 to 15 minutes of the day are going to do just as much for your cells as a 30-minute red light session. So this would be a free resource to, again, put more fuel inside those mitochondria so that your cells can start healing faster. So 10 to 15 minutes direct sunlight as the first 10 to 15 minutes that the sun is coming up is also a great way to refuel. Sleep optimization, like I said, one of the things that disrupts our ability to refuel those cells is that interrupted sleep. So we want to make sure that we're keeping a consistent sleep-wake schedule. So if you're matching it to the sun, this is going to be pretty consistent. It's hard on weekends, but yes, you want to do this consistently all day long or all week long. We want to keep the bedroom temperature between 65 and 68, just a little bit cooler. Complete darkness because our body is going to respond just like it responds to sunshine. It's going to respond. If you have a nightlight in the room, you are decreasing that circadian rhythm. You're decreasing that refueling because you're stimulating light into the body. So complete darkness. White noise, that one goes back and forth, but that is actually scientifically proven to get you into deeper sleep, which means more parasympathetic, more rest, digest, and heal, which means your cells are going to recover and your energy is going to start to come up and you're not going to be at a deficit. No caffeine after 12. We want our body to make sure we can burn through every little bit of that caffeine before we go to bed. And then sleep tracking to identifying patterns. Again, something that I've discovered on my Aura Ring is that if I eat dinner too late, let's say I eat dinner at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or whatever it might be, my body is actually still burning through those calories, those carbohydrates that when I go to bed at 9:30, my body is still working through that food. And so I was actually able to see on my Aura Ring how eating a late dinner, specifically high in carbohydrates, affected my sleep pattern. So I'm not saying you need an Aura Ring or an Apple Watch or anything like that, but it is an insight into your body to know how the decisions of your day are affecting things such as sleep, which is going to be a direct effect on your overall energy levels. Movement, again, I was kind of aiming at this talk mostly for a lot of women because I think the women come into the office a little bit more drained with low energy than the men do at this current moment in our practice. Um, I feel like women come into the office and they often tell me they like, okay, I wasn't able to work out this week. And I'm kind of like, well, why? And they said, well, because I didn't have 30 minutes. And I was like, movement doesn't have to be 30 minutes. So movement could be 10 minutes. It could be 10 minutes of stretching. It could be if you have a little one laying on the floor with them while they're doing tummy time, doing stretching. It could be while one of your kiddos is putting together Legos. Like it doesn't have to be 30 minutes. This goes back to that done is better than perfect. I don't want you to write off movement because you don't have a 30-minute or 60-minute or 45-minute time slot. We do want to try to hit strength training 2 to 3 times a week to keep our muscle mass. And we would like that to hit around 45 minutes, but I don't want you to write out the 10-minute movement because you're trying to hit that 45. Um, I think this is the one of the last things that I was going to chat about. Hydration. So every single cell inside of our body, energy runs through it. And again, it goes back to that difference between a grape and a raisin. Energy is going to move a lot more fluid through a grape than it is going to be a raisin. And so we want to make sure that hydration levels are high enough, and it's half your body weight in ounces minimum. I would say 100 ounces is going to be great. If you can do 100 grams of protein, 100 ounces of water, that is the great way to do so. You always want to front load this water consumption. You don't want to be waiting until 4 in the afternoon to drink all your water. You want to do it on the front end because it is going to support metabolism. What electrolytes do? So you see on the right side of the screen, I put a couple different things. I have our Celtic sea salt, the needed hydration support, the LMNT packets. If I put a raisin into water, water does not go into the raisin. I need elements to actually pull the water into the raisin. So the reason that electrolytes have become sort of all the craze is they're going to help actually pull the hydration into the cell so your body can actually plump back up to a grape and have that energy be able to move through it and heal quicker. I always note, and I'm a cold water person, so do as I say, not as I do. Room temperature water is best because if your water that you're drinking is cool or even hot, your body is having to use energy to bring it to body temperature. So if you have water that is room temperature, it's going to be easier for your body to self-regulate that to your body temperature. We always say this with the kids, it's an easy way, but I think adults need to hear it too. We know how hydrated we are by the color of our urine. So that's the easiest way when we get little kids that are learning to be potty trained. Did you drink enough water today? And they can look at their urine and they can know. So use that as your indicator. If you're 2 cups of coffee deep with no water and the color of your urine is bright yellow, bright orange, we do need to hit high hydration after that to replenish those cells. Down in the bottom, I put a picture of, so this is a water distiller. Water quality also matters, but hydration is, I would put hydration above water quality. Like, I'd rather have you drink water than not drink water because it's toxic. So, distilled water is going to be the cleanest water you drink. Reverse osmosis is great. Whole house filtration is great. But those type of filters do not remove radioactive elements. Radioactive elements decrease mitochondrial function. So distilled water removes the water from the toxins instead of the toxins from the water. Spring water, or yeah, I think it's called, no, Smart Water, excuse me. Smart Water is going to be a store-bought distilled water that you can get if you're traveling, or you can just go by the jugs that you used to use to like make baby formula of the distilled water. That is going to be the same thing. It's going to be the cleanest water, or that little device that's on the screen is the one that we have in our home. It's kind of nice because it's a one-time purchase. You don't have to purchase filters for it. So yes, it's an investment, but you don't have to constantly year or month after month, year after year, buy more filters for it to make sure that you're getting clean water. Now, distilled water, those radioactive elements that I'm talking about that disrupt that mitochondrial function, they're only absorbed through our mucous membrane. So think ears, eyes, nose, throat. They're not absorbed through our skin. So you don't need to distill your shower water. You don't need to distill hand washing, anything like that. It just needs to be the water that you're drinking in your mucous membranes to fuel those cells. Last, obviously, I'm a chiropractor, so I have to talk about this, right? If your brain cannot communicate to your body, you are going to have energy dysfunction because every single organ, every single cell is communicated to by the brain. And if it can't get there, we're going to see disconnect. So it's going to help. Chiropractic adjustments help release tension. They help blood flow. They help that cerebral spinal flow so we can actually move nutrients up, down, right, left. It's been proven to increase your parasympathetic, so it's going to decrease your cortisol. And it does actually increase sleep quality. We've seen that study after study that sees that people who get adjusted regularly are getting deeper sleep and longer sleep. So I always put that in there because that is something else that you can add on if you're not already doing it to just help your body increase that energy by removing any of those triggers that are draining your body of energy. And so that's what I have, but I am open to questions if anyone has any. You can see a picture of our website down here. And I wrote where it says like storefront. A lot of the products that I recommended are there. You don't have to buy them, but just so that you know, like if you want to have access or just do a deeper dive on like, what is a water distiller? Do I need it? What is red light? Do I need it? They're all located in that storefront so that if you have any curiosity, you can go look at them. Okay, so Miss Bliss said, Specific tips for time, specific energy slumps, 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m., etc. So, yes, 100%. So if you're hitting an energy slump before noon, this is a nutrient, a lack of nutrients. So this is going to be where that high protein intake really matters. Those electrolyte minerals really matter, and those specific nutrients listed on one of those slides matters. If you're hitting, like you should have slept from, 9:30 until 5:30 or 6, like you should have energy till at least 1 or 2 o'clock. Now that 2 o'clock energy slump is almost always caffeine withdrawal because you're doing too much caffeine, or it's those low B vitamins, which is going to be your hemogenics, your methyl care, or your mitochore. Now, this is where there's a lot of people talking about liver capsules and adding liver to our nutrients. Liver is really high in B vitamins, and that's why that's added in there. Um, an afternoon, like a late afternoon or evening energy slump is actually a cortisol problem. That's going to be more of those, your magnesium. It's going to be focusing more on sleep, those adaptogens, the licorice, the myocalm. Your cortisol is highest at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then it decreases throughout the whole day. So what we're seeing is if you're hitting an energy slump at 4 or 5, you basically ran out of cortisol for the day and you have nothing left to give. And so what we need to do is we need to decrease that cortisol exposure so that it's more even as it comes down. And that's where a 5 p.m. like energy slump is coming from. Biggest thing you don't want to do is if you have a 5 p.m. energy slump, the last thing you want to do is you want to push through and get an adrenaline rush. So we hear this a lot where, you go to put your child down and you're reading them a story and you get so cozy and you start to fall asleep and then you crawl out of bed and then you're like, I need to do the dishes, I need to load laundry, I want to read for myself, all those things, and you get that adrenaline. We want to avoid that as much as possible. I know it's not always feasible, but like we want to avoid that as much as possible, because you're just going to create even more of that cortisol issues. I think the biggest takeaway I want all of you to know is that chronic fatigue, it doesn't really exist. Okay. Like your body isn't feeling you. Your body knows what to do when it's given the right resources. And so that's what this talk is about. It's making sure your nutrient density is good, making sure your hydration is good, eliminating things that are causing the triggers, such as blue light, the sleep disturbances, those type of things, and just getting that fuel back in your body, because then we can start regulating when it starts to get low, what to do to bring it back up. But when it's gone, nothing is going to work right. Beautiful. Well, if you have any other questions about this, feel free to contact us. Let us know. Like I said, these talks will be put, everyone who RSVP'd, even who's not here, is going to get the slides so they can have access to them. We're going to eventually put all of these talks up on YouTube so you can access them again. Our next talk is going to be the second Tuesday in June. So you'll see information come out about that soon. And thanks so much for coming.